What's going on?
They're back.
Are we back? We're back.
Actually, they're forward.
The time continuum has been disrupted, creating this new temporal event sequence resulting in this alternate reality.
Mom, you're so big. So I said, what's the catch?
Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd. Back to the Future Part 2. World television premiere Friday on Showtime.
Are we back? We're back.
Everybody, guess what I'm doing again? Watching one movie and podcasting about it. Every day in March, it's Back to the Future 2. So listen each day, or at least try, as I bring you year 2 of Marchy McFly. It's Marchy McFly. It's Marchy McFly. It's Marchy McFly. Oh, Marchy McFly. It's Marchy McFly.
It's day 9. Sing along if you know the words. It's day 9 of Marchy McFly. Come on, you know it. I watched the movie for the 9th straight time. Ooh, yeah. Welcome back, everybody. It's Wednesday evening, day 9 of my month-long celebration of Back to the Future 2. Guess what I did this morning? I started Back to the Future. Guess when I finished it? About 5 minutes ago. Back to the Future 2, just to make a distinct delineation. Is that the word? I don't know. But here I am. It took me a little while to watch it because this morning I took my dog to daycare, so I really didn't get much time to watch it. Then I had to bring my cell phone someplace to get it fixed because I dropped it, but it wasn't ready, so that was a waste of time. But that ate into my lunchtime. Then I had to go get my dog from daycare. I mean, there's just a lot going on. And also, I'm recording a different podcast with my friends tonight for my other show, Fine Movies, Fine Spirits. Find it everywhere podcasts are available. Or at fansnotexperts.com. And that is a long one. It's on Zoom. It's with multiple people. Some of them are on Chromebooks. Some of them are on their phones. We have a new person joining us tonight, and I'm interested to see what he connects with. So that'll be interesting. It's a podcast where we go in depth talking about a movie, pretty much the entire movie, and then I get to go back and edit in all the sounds, and it takes forever, but it's fun. Tonight we're doing The Godfather, which, if I'm holding the value of The Godfather in one hand and the value of Back to the Future in the other hand, I'm trying to weigh which movie's better. I'm leaning towards The Godfather. But I'm not watching The Godfather 31 days in a row. No, I am not. Folks, listening or watching the movie today, an idea popped in my head for another song. So I didn't do it tonight, but songs seem to happen on the weekend. So we'll see something probably this weekend if the idea fleshes out. But what I wanted to focus on today was, and I talked about this for a while, was the newspapers of Back to the Future 2. Back to the Future news, do-do-biddy-do. They don't, I don't say they play a major part in this, but they are featured dramatically in this movie to show kind of the changing of time and the changing of timelines. Even though timelines change, the Hill Valley Telegraph and the USA Today seem to stand the test of time. I said this before. The Hill Valley's a war zone. The high school has been, burnt down in 1979. The town seems to be overrun and owned by a nightmare of a man named Biff Tannen, and yet the Hill Valley Telegraph is still thriving. Like, for all we knew, that newspaper could have sat on Strickland's porch for 3 years, and it's 1988. Maybe they did come back in the wrong year. But going all the way back towards the beginning of the movie, 2015, we see what Doc shows Marty to convince him that something needs to be done about your kids. And what was fun about this USA Today is back in 2015, USA Today actually put out like an updated cover of the newspaper. Now, what I'm looking at, I found this image online. I should link to every single image that I'm showing here so that you guys can access it. I'll make a little list of the links and I'll put it in the show notes. So if you are looking on your phone and you go to the show notes for this episode, you'll be able to click on the links and see the pictures that I'm looking at and talking about. The first thing we see is the USA Today. This is, it doesn't say what it's, it does. Thursday, October 22nd, 2015. It says at the top, via CompuFax satellite, the nation's newspaper, Hill Valley edition. I guess there are different editions for different areas for real in USA Today. I don't know. To me, USA Today it's a nice magazine or a nice newspaper to look at because it is all in color. And it's something I feel like you get when you're at a hotel. I never really think to be like, what's at the USA Today? I never really checked the website. One of the guys I'm doing a talk with tonight, for a while, I think he had the app on his phone because every news story he was sending me was USA Today. I want to be like, hey, dum-dum, stop it. So, okay. I want to talk about the different things because I didn't fully look at this newspaper yet. Everyone sees, the big cover, youth jailed, Martin McFly Jr. arrested for theft. And it says, youth gang denies complicity. So I'm going to read the article there. It shows the caption under his name. It says, they made me do it. And this says, youth gang denies complicity. The author of this article is CompuFax. So they abolished all lawyers. Did they abolish all reporters, and everything is done through this CompuFax system? Protesting that he was put up to the whole thing by a local gang, Martin McFly Jr., 17, was arrested for the theft of an undisclosed cash amount by Hill Valley police this morning. The theft, which was accomplished with a stolen degaussing unit, took place at the Hill Valley payroll substation on 9th Street at exactly 1:28 a.m. this morning. Exactly 1:28. Police were sketchy about details, but apparently McFly set off a pressure-sensitive alarm system, which alerted authorities. McFly, the son of Martin and Jennifer McFly of Hilldale, really they'd give the neighborhood, accused members of a local gang for putting him up to the crime. Griff Tannen, spokesman for the accused youths, denied any involvement. McFly's too low res for us to associate with him. McFly insisted that the gang was involved and that he didn't even know that he was committing a crime. They told me it was simply a money-making opportunity and that it was entirely legal. McFly will be arraigned tomorrow and will be tried in a date effects court this week. This week? I thought it was within 2 hours, they said in the paper. The McFly family is no stranger to run-ins with the law. Marty McFly was involved in a drag racing accident involving an innocent bystander in 1985. Ooh, they make sure to put that in. I'm assuming this is an exact replica of the prop, because it looks like a pretty well digital screen, shot of this picture. I'm going with it as the actual one. Oh wow. Okay, this is a fun one. So along the left-hand side, it gives you interesting quick reads on the news. It says the thumb bandits strike again after amputating thumbs at hospital patients. You can use the thumb prints to get into doors. That's what, use the thumb pad. These are little headlines. Man killed by falling litter thrown from a hovering vehicle. Yikes. Tokyo stock up, average a 5-point increase in rally section C. Swiss terrorist threat may be real, say CIA officials. World, page 5. Shredding for charity in a way to raise money and save trees, section D. President says she's tired of reporters asking the same questions. A woman president. That's what they said in 1990. I mean, what's crazy is we 30 years since this movie has come out. 33? Wait a minute. 1989. 1990? 33 years, right? Yeah. And that's still not true. Kelp prices increase. It's likely due to pollution in South Pacific, so I guess seaweed's a big thing. Pitcher suspended for bionic arm use without calibration. So you can use it if it's calibrated. Slam ball playoffs begin. That's what actually in the corner it says this. In the upper left corner it says the same thing. Slam ball playoffs begin. Cubs sweep series in 5. So it says this evening in Denver, televised on 183. Slam ball did become the name of a sport. Remember, it was one of those things I think was on Spike TV where they played basketball with trampolines. It was ridiculous. I watched a couple episodes. Jaws without bite in the review of Jaws 19. So surprisingly, that's not doing very well. Woman asphyxiates in self-adjusting jacket. Manufacturer says no safety system was overridden. Tightening a garment is no substitute for dieting. So they're saying the woman hacked her jacket to make it thin, to make her thinner, and she died. Activists mobilizing to ban alphabet soup. Group leader Jay Williams says this is an offensive product which contains slurs and profanity in every can. That's kind of hilarious because it's almost like you'd see something like that. You put these letters in here, people could spell anything. Cafe 80 closes Moscow branch. Jesus, that's because Russians were not nostalgic about the 80s USSR or Leonid Brezhnev. I don't know, but that's weird timing with some Russia stuff in the news. Mother Against Drunk Flying hires new lobbyist. Katie Pearson will lead campaign to install kill switch breathalyzers in flying cars. They should have that in actual cars. Maddie the hoverboarding dog TV special tonight. Border Collie music video star gets 1 hour special on K9 Sports Network. I wonder if the actual prop had all these articles written out, or if it was just because I see some others that look like prop replicas, and the text is just a lot of it's nonsense text. But I know a lot of these headlines were in the actual prop. 2016 hoverboard models will be thinner and lighter, but they still won't go work on water. Atrocity Channel's Immolation special getting super hot ratings. Jesus. Network executive announcing a cutting-edge follow-up, Evisceration Through the Ages. Vietnam Surfing Champions begins tomorrow. That seems like, they show Vietnam, Surf Vietnam. And, this one's a good one. Parole denied again for Joseph Joey Baines, 61, currently serving a 20-year term for racketeering at Folsom Prison. Baines, originally from Hill Valley, has spent some 2/3 of his life behind bars. Old jailbird Joey. That's Marty McFly's uncle. This is the 12th consecutive parole hearing to end in denial. You'd think they would put that in the actual article instead of Marty McFly getting in a car accident. But okay. I think this is all done for kind of fun. Am I going to read all these articles? Well, this one, I mean, this was like cholesterol may be cancer cure. A controversial new study by scientists at the International Center of Alternate Scientific Theory suggests that cholesterol may hold the cure for curing cancer. The report reveals yesterday sent shockwaves through the medical community. Simply put, the results of our preliminary research are stunning and completely unexpected, said Dr. Lee Quindara, leader of the study, in an exclusive interview with USA Today. This is a lot. There's a lot going on here. You can read it if you want in the picture. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. It's not specifically Back to the Future related. There's an article by Nadie McDonald. 3 injured when mom rehydrates pizza slices. Despite the warning labels and public service announcements about the hazards of rehydrating food, 3 people, including 2 children, were injured yesterday morning when Ruby Lee Dontanovich of South Hill Valley decided to rehydrate 2 pineapple pepperoni pizzas slices that she had hydrated the night before. Oh, I guess it's like re-microwaving. My 4 kids were all screaming for pizza for breakfast, but we only had 2 slices left over for dinner, so I wanted to double the portions by rehydrating them. Rehydrating food can cause an abnormal buildup of water pressure within the hydrator. And if the device is clogged and improperly vented, an explosion can result. You can read the rest of that article. I don't want to do that anymore. The lower right-hand corner is a funny one. It says, a new study from Sam Houston Institute of Technology concludes that the public is easily fooled by bogus news stories and made-up research in facility institutions. In a study conducted by Chad Stern, 5,200 people of age groups were shown a USA Today paper full of fictional news articles and studies, many inspired by the 1989 motion picture Back to the Future 2. 63% of the sample thought that some of the information was accurate, 18% that thought everything was accurate, while the remaining 29% got the joke. Immediately, oh, that's funny. And it says gullible, public more gullible than ever. So this is showing me that this was probably an image made in 2015, using some of what we saw. I'm sure everything that was visible in the movie is accurate, and I read that, the youth jailed, the news line, slam ball, but a lot of the stuff I think below the fold was made up for the paper, for like the nostalgia for the 2015 release of the parody paper. And just curious, I want to check, because I have a screenshot that I took from the movie, and a lot of what I see is I'm gonna do a little side by side here. It looks, I noticed one glaring difference, which I understand why they changed it. But everything else looks, president says she's tired. Okay. They took out one article, and I think basically anything below slam ball. So like the jacket, the soup, the jaws, it's all, I think, just kind of, at least it was never shown on screen. As far as I can tell. But the major difference that I see is in the upper right-hand corner of the picture that says Hill Valley Edition. It says 3D billboards, free traffic or free speech or traffic hazards. But in the original, it says Washington prepares for Queen Diana's visit. I understand why it says from the Capitol. I understand why they took that off. Obviously, Princess Di was killed in the mid 90s when I was in college. So there was no reason for that to, for them to keep that. But the funny thing, again, this was another addition made, I think, for this movie, for like the prop parody in 2015. But it says Hollywood to remake A Match Made in Space, which was George McFly's book. So let's just read this one a little. Academy Award-winning director Robert Zemeckis from Forrest Gump Who Framed Roger Rabbit will direct a new version of George McFly's classic 1985 science fiction novel, A Match Made in Space. USA Today has learned Zemeckis, a longtime fan of McFly's first novel, has long dreamed of directing the film version of the bestseller and has been maneuvering to secure the film rights for years. In an exclusive interview, USA Today, Zemeckis disclosed that he had originally campaigned to direct the project as soon as he read the novel. At the time, I thought A Match Made in Space was the best science fiction novel of the decade, and its stature has only increased over the years. I had a lot of meetings back in the day, only to be told that no one thought I could handle a film with a lot of special effects. That's funny, and I wonder if that is something that was told to him. The director, whose latest production, The Walk, is currently garnering rave reviews. I'm going to look that. Is that a real thing? The Walk. Robert Zemeckis. Apparently, The Walk is a 2015 3D bio. Oh, that's the one where Joseph Gordon-Levitt walks on a high wire between the Twin Towers in 1974. Oh, I didn't know that was a Zemeckis film. So that's kind of, this is obviously almost like promo for his movie. But this says a remake. So let me read this. Zemeckis' perseverance in his pursuit to direct his dream project. I've always said it, if you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything. Really? He said that? Whoever wrote this is kind of cute. The original 1989 release was considered a creative misfire as well as a box office bomb. Wait, let me go along. Said the director. No studio was interested in having a conversation with me about a remake. I had a lot of meetings back in the day. And Zemeckis' perseverance in his pursuit to direct his dream project stems from his own personal. So I guess someone else made it. I'm confused. Zemeckis will co-write and adapt the new novel and plans to eliminate all the martial arts elements as well as the country western songs that were added by Hollywood in the previous iteration. That's kind of funny. He goes, in my mind, there are only one man who can play the alien, so I hope I can convince Zemeckis to cast Christopher Lloyd. That's what George McFly says in an interview. Okay. I mean, it's cute. But this isn't the actual prop. But pretty close. I'll share that one because the only thing that's different is the Princess Diana thing and some of the added things. So let's see. Let's look at the newspaper too. This one looks more like a prop that I'm looking at now. And it says the newspaper is $6. The original prop, oh, you know what it is? Oh, this is so silly. The newspaper does say $6, the prop, but USA Today was $2 actually at the time, so that's the price they put on it. Okay, I see what you did there. So USA prop number 2, USA Today, everything else is the same, except now it says gang jailed. Hoverboard rampage destroys courthouse. Gang leader has bionic overloads. It says gang leader. I was framed. Remember that from the movie? Reckless hoverboarders careened into Hill Valley City Courthouse late yesterday afternoon, causing serious damage to the structure. The perpetrators received minor injuries and were immediately apprehended by the Hill Valley police. They are being held in the city lockup pending immediate trial. Jailed were Griff Tannen, 19, Leslie O'Malley, 18, Chester Nogura, 18, and Rafe Unger, 19. I never knew these guys had names. All of Hill Valley. Tannen claimed a fifth hoverboarder had perpetrated the incident and escaped. The claims were dismissed by authorities upon learning that the accused, whose name was withheld, was a repeat target of harassment by the gang. Oh, because they're saying that, they harassed Marty Jr. The incident occurred in front of the courthouse when Tannen, on a pit bull powered model hoverboard with his companions in tow when speeding across the courthouse pond in a violation of local ordinances and apparently lost control of his hoverboard. All 4 hoverboarders were thrown into the front office of the building, causing some serious damage to the edifice. No one else was injured. The incident occurred in front of the courthouse when Tannen on a pitbull-powered model hoverboard with his companion. Oh, they just repeated the text. So that tells me this was one of the real props, because the text is just repeated. Probably had their thumb over it, so they didn't need to show it. Yeah, that is the 2 newspapers from the future. Then we go back to the new 1985. The first time we see a newspaper is on Mr. Strickland's porch, but all we see is the date on that. So then Marty goes over to the Biff Tannen casino, hotel, and museum, and that's where we see more newspapers. These, it looks like, are just like filler text, except for the headlines. Hill Valley Man wins big at races, March 28th, 1958. Of course, Marchy McFly celebrated back in the 50s. The newspaper that people depend on, the Hill Valley Telegraph, only 10 cents. And it says Hill Valley to get added state highway funds. That's good. But I think all the text is really just filler. Yeah, nothing really said there. And it shows Biff holding the big check at the races over his head with the almanac in his pocket. Then there's Biff wins again. Another article that looks like it's going to be about Biff, but it's like, while the final outcome of the situation is yet to be determined, it is possible that when all the facts come together at the conference now scheduled for next week, that a decision will be made to possibly satisfy the needs and demands of the parties. See, it's just filler text. Nothing's there. But it looks like text if you read it. And Hill Valley, I don't see a date on this one. It's still 10 cents, so it must still be early on. Biff wins again with a big, silly, goofy Tom Wilson smile. It's pretty funny. And do I have all 3 of these? I'm going to save all these so you can make sure to see them. And then the third one is from 1959. Now, at this point, Biff is known as the luckiest man on earth. Another article that looks like it should be about Biff Tannen. A suggestion that public hearings are just gibberish text. And that's, I'm sorry, there's one more Biff Tannen article, and it's the one where it says gambling is legalized. So if you click on that one, I think I have it as Biff number 4. It says gambling legalized. City Council approves Tannen initiative by 1 vote margin. The text is all the same gibberish stuff. But the headline, there's a few little headlines. Toxic waste site chosen by shopping mall. So it looks like they're building a toxic waste site by the shopping mall. That's really good for the city. The newspaper's still only 10 cents. Iran cut off oil. Nixon, U.S. won't yield. On the left-hand side, it says, and again, this is more filler text. But there's a little headline that says demonstrators jailed in clock tower clash. So this looks like it's in the 70s based on Biff's photo. He doesn't quite look like the Biff. He looks closer to the Biff that we know today, but he still has thicker head of hair. So I'm guessing this is in the 70s. And those are all kind of shown when we're learning what Biff had done or how Biff had become rich. So later on, this is mostly in 1985 now, we find out that George McFly had been murdered. And I have another prop. I think it's from Prop Store. I don't know if it's propstore.com. I'm not sure exactly. But I'll have all these images again for you to look at. Now the Hill Valley Telegraph is 25 cents. It's 1973, this says. So I feel like the other one looks, maybe the other one's 1970. We'll say that. So it says George McFly murdered, local author shot dead. The article, let's see, the articles on the one side looks all, it's just gibberish text. But on this side, we do get some actual text, at least Let's see what it says here. George McFly, local author and professor, was shot dead last night en route to an award dinner by the Hill Valley Civic Committee. McFly, who was to receive an award, was found dead in an alley 2 blocks from HV's community center at 9:35 p.m. by police. There were no witnesses. Police speculate the robbery was a motive, as McFly's wallet was missing. McFly, a lifelong resident of Hill Valley, had long been a civic activist against the policies of BIFCO. He is survived by his wife, Lorraine, and their 3 children, David, Linda, and Martin. Funeral arrangements have not been made. State authorities have finally announced a date for opening of the new municipal court center. This long-anticipated event has been the source of much animosity among the civic leaders of the communities surrounding Capitol. The facts remain. The situation remains. Okay, now we got it's all gibberish from there on out. But that first paragraph is definitely like a quick, real thing about George. And it looks like George was against BIFCO. He tried to fight the man. And that's why one of the reasons probably that Mr. Tannen had murdered Mr. McFly. Awful, awful, awful. And what we also remember is while that's happening, in this awful 1985, Doc also finds we also find a newspaper where it says, Doc, Emmett Brown committed. Crackpot inventor declared legally sane. It looks like all the text on this is filler text. I don't have a real high-res version, but again, I will have this for you to see in the show notes. The cool thing about the Doc Brown thing is that the other headlines kind of also show the difference in the world. In other words, it doesn't just say Emmett Brown committed, crackpot inventor declared legally insane, to now Emmett Brown commended, local inventor receives civic award, even though the actual text is all the same. But the other little headlines that are in the original timeline, well, in the bad 1985 timeline, it says Nixon to seek 5th term, vows to end Vietnam War by 1985, which is kind of sad, scary, and hilarious. And that was replaced by Reagan to seek 2nd term, no Republicans challenges expected, which is, of course, what actually happened. It says 1983. It's funny, Doc Brown says, in the future, this is what happens to me. But it actually happened, it makes sense that it happened 2 years earlier because they're in 1985. How would they have the paper yet? And below, when Doc's in a straitjacket, below it says BIFCO to build new dioxin plant. Hey, Google, what is dioxin?
According to Wikipedia, dioxins and dioxin-like compounds are a group of chemical compounds that are persistent organic pollutants in the environment.
Oh, pollutants.
They are mostly byproducts of burning or various industrial processes, or, in case of dioxin like PCBs and PDBs, unwanted minor components of intentionally produced mixtures.
Oh, so that sounds bad. I don't know if you heard all that, but it's not good. But guess what? It didn't happen. Instead, it says Mayor Goldie Wilson vetoes zoning bill. I don't know exactly what he vetoed. I don't know if there was zoning, maybe putting another porn theater in downtown Hill Valley. But at least it's not a chemical plant with all kinds of pollutants. And the last paper, I think, to talk about, the biggest one of them all, is that Mr. George McFly was not killed. George McFly was not murdered. George McFly was honored. Local author receives civic award from mayor, city council. That's what he was supposed to get originally when he was murdered. Now, again, what I was looking at as far as a prop looked old. So I'm thinking it was the actual prop, or, a very good replica. It's very yellow, and I'm assuming that paragraph was, actually in the story. It may not have been. It may have been a recreation. Recreate. You know what I mean. But George McFly Honored doesn't have any article and any text in there that really has any info. It's just all, filler text. But he's alive. And of course we see George McFly as pictured as, of course, played by Crispin Glover, who apparently played George McFly in this movie, but didn't know it in certain parts. That, I feel like, is a story for another day that is not today. I feel like I touched upon it last year, and I remember being on one side of the Crispin Glover story and then kind of being on the other side of the Crispin Glover story. And I do want to talk about George McFly because he is featured in Back to the Future 2. He's prominently a big plot point, even though the character himself is only in it here and there. And, you know what it is. You know how, it's not Crispin Glover, obviously. So I want to go a little in depth on that and see what I can find from the guy who played him. And so that's going to be an episode we're going to definitely talk about in the future or in the past. Precisely. Okay, that's it, my friends. You can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at Geek Mentality. The website is fans.experts.com. The Facebook page is fans.experts. And yeah, that's it. We did it. 9 days in the book. 9 times I've done Back to the Future 2. And there are still... Bloop, bloop, bloop. Hey, Google, what's 31 minus 9?
31 minus 9 is 22.
I knew that. It's still 22 days left of Marchy McFly. I'm ready, he said. Are you ready? Let's do this. Until tomorrow, my friends, thanks for listening. Thanks for subscribing. And here is my theme song. This is my podcast. I made it. Geek Mentality's what I named it. And I think you should listen and subscribe. 'Cause I'm kinda funny and awesome. I think that I'm worth your time. And I'm kinda handsome. My mom says, please listen and please subscribe. At least listen to this episode.
Fans not experts.